Welcome back, everybody, to Unconditional Surrender Europe, designed by Salvatore Vasta, published by GMT Games. This is the East First campaign series that I am recording for all of you. I record from vlogs. My opponent, Board Game Geek's handle is Lucciante, Lucciante, so you can congratulate him on a good game that he's playing. I believe that we are starting September of 1941. In August of 1941, the Russians were collapsed. I managed to hang out till August, but I couldn't make the die roll for the West to come in from the packed die roll, which that was the first time I got to roll. And then in this turn, they did roll, so the West is officially allowed to make attacks and things to the Germans and vice versa. So we don't really have a weather phase because it's September, so we know that it's fair. Don't think the Axis declared war. Now, the West came in and they did do a declaration of war, and I'm going to show you a little reason why. Currently, Latvia was pro-German, and I had the West go ahead and declare war on Latvia immediately. The reason why is because I wasn't so worried about it going over to Germany, but because he went Russia first, I got no conceded areas, which means Tallinn in here and Lithuania's Kaunas, those factories will never go to the Russians. The Polish factory in Brest will never go to Russia. Because they were conquered by Germany and it was no Nazi-Soviet pact, none of these areas went to the Russians. Same thing for Bessarabia. In order for me to get Bessarabia, I have to completely conquer Romania. In order for me to get Vyborg from Finland, I would have to completely conquer Finland. I was thinking long-term game here. An extra factory for the Russians probably would be a good idea. So I decided to go ahead and declare war on Riga. It'll be a German, yay, they get another garrison unit to do something with in this northern area. But it guarantees that they will be conquerable by the Russians when they do come back, so that they will be able to pick up a factory. It's very important there's a threshold for the Russians. If they can get to 52, I believe it is, they can get to 52 production points, they can move all their mobile armies, their armor and their mobile infantry, all 5 shock armies, and replenish all 5 of their airplanes when they get them. So if you can get the Russians to 52 production points somehow, with strategic warfare losses and stuff, they're guaranteed of being able to move all the important armies in their army, which, is a problem for the Germans because even if they're at 30, they usually have to move something in the west and something in the east and save something for their airplanes. So it can become an economic issue for the Germans if the Russians get to that point where they can literally move everything. So that was the reason for the declaration of war on Latvia. And I think we're going to jump over here and he's going to be setting them up here. Okay, then we go into the economy phases. And Britain is down a factory now, so it starts with only 16, just like the French. The Russians have they have 7 Urals, 1 Lend-Lease, so that's 8, and 6 Russian factories. So that, and you don't multiply by 2 for the Russians when they're in the Moscow Treaty, so they only have 14 points. And I don't know why I did that. That is incorrect for the British. Oh no, the British actually have 18 at this point because he hasn't invaded the West yet. So I gave the French a point because I could. So they both have 17. That's what I did. Okay. And there is no strategic warfare because there's no allied counter on the track for him to roll against. So we're into strategic movement, and you can pretty much bet that the Germans are moving an armored unit over to the west. It came out of the east. I'm not sure I did anything with the west. I didn't do anything with the west. I did move one of the Russian infantry that's way back in the back. Just started moving them towards the line. Now we're in operations phase. And I believe he's just going to be doing a bunch of ground movement here. Let me get this thing off the map. Not that. That little box. So, he moves the German infantry into Turkey. Upon doing that, he has triggered the Mediterranean crisis event. And I think we stopped here, and I said, you got to stop. As soon as you moved in, I have to place all these guys. So the British, I placed the 9th down adjacent to Iraq down here in the corner. And the 10th is poised to go running into Egypt. The French put the French 1st North African, the real unit, on the border with Italy because he's got this pro marker there, so I'm expecting it to come in. I put something in Tunis because he has a surprise attack marker, which he does. I was expecting an invasion of Tunis to try and mess up the French North African campaign. I put a garrison in Corsica because I didn't want him to just put somebody there and capture it. And then I kind of did this backwards. I should have really put the Syrian over here. And I think later I just switched the units just for aesthetic purposes. They're the same value. And then I put this one over here on the northern Iraqi border. What this does is it's going to allow me to declare war on Iraq. No matter how he defends Iraq, because it only has one garrison unit, he can't, quote, stop it, because it's only had 2 willpower. So one of these 2 units will be able to officially conquer Iraq, and then we capture this port down here to keep the Germans from getting it, and it also gives me a pro marker. So the idea was to get me a Western pro marker into the Diplomacy Cup as soon as I possibly can. So that's why I set up things like I did. Then I put the convoy down here in Iran so I can supply the guys in North Africa. I think... Yeah. And now we're back up here to Turkey, where he's attacking the poor garrison unit inside the Istanbul. Since it's fair weather, I'm starting at -2. He started at 2, -1, so he's +1 to -2. Get up to 3. Combat commitment. Yeah, because he has a tanks marker. He threw his tanks, I threw my ground support, so he's going to go up to +3. I will go down to -1. He rolled a 6, +3 is a 9. No matter what I roll, at best I'm going to get to 5, and that's a retreat, which I can't do, so he's eliminated. And he takes Istanbul. No, let's get this off the board. Did I take down the Turkish will? Yeah, Turkish will went down to 6. Productions. I started to move their production. I said, wait, they still have their production points. It's next turn that they'll start at 2. So, and he put the tanks up there. I rolled a 6 for my ground support, so I'm not going to see it forever. 6 months is a long time for miners to not have any support. He spent the 1 point for the Bulgarians. They went down and sealed off the other isthmus thing, so I wouldn't get any ideas of like isolating the Germans. You know, going 1, 2, 3, 4, then the Germans would be isolated. Just kind of standard that. I don't know why he did that so soon, but. And then he was looking to see how far his airplane can get. I showed him how to, this is how you can tell how far they can move. So he moved it down here. I was just showing him the ranges here. I think that's why you see all these pretty colors on the map and how they overlap each other. So he moved the airplane, 10 spaces up. And I pointed out to him that he couldn't actually move that airplane into the west like he wanted to, because it was going to have to stay in the east. I think he could have moved it into Poland. So we put that guy back, and then he wants to move an airplane to the west. I'm not sure. 2nd Panzer. It's just flying down the rail lines, so this is just going to be him. Just trying to get things, get his tanks over to the west. Starts bringing some infantry along. The mobile infantry unit. I'm not 100% sure why he brought the mobile infantry unit. I probably would have left it in the east because it costs 2 production points to activate it, and it's no better than a regular infantry, and you're going to be in a short front on France. So each to each their own. And then we've got Romanians moving back here to start taking up their garrison duties in Russia. Started moving some Yugoslavs. This was a mistake on our part. We don't catch this for a couple of turns. He is able to go into Hungary because it's conquered, but the miner can't go into Germany because it's an allied active country, and you're not allowed to go into another allied minor country unless you're the Germans, the French, the British, the USSR, or the USA units. Everybody else has to stay in their own country or go into conquered countries or enemy countries. So we messed this up. He spent some points on the Yugoslavs that I don't think he would have spent them on anything else, and we redress it in a later video. I think that's all he did. So we're just ripping right along here. Now we got to Western operations. I had moved the first RAF into Antwerp, I believe, last turn. So I went after the German aircraft. I rolled a 6 plus 1 was a 7. He rolled a 1 plus 2, which was a 3. So that gave me a 2 for 1, which kind of what I wanted. So now we're at 0 to 0. I rolled a 1. He rolled a 5, so he got me right back. We're both at 3. I'm at -2. He's at -1. I rolled another 1. He rolled a 2, so we each took 1 sortie. And then I moved. This is the shuffle. The UK shuffle is what I call it. So that airplane flies back to Britain, so I don't have to supply it. Because it'll be in a home country. And then I fly Fighter Command forward. And now I'm going to be at 0 to his -2. I get a 4. It's a 3, but -2 makes it a 1, so I get 2 sorties. And basically the German aircraft is null and void. It's not in my way anymore. And now I believe we see... Oh, this is me moving the 10th Army up to Egypt. Because, like, hey. I put him basically in El Alamein. Because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with the Western Desert Forest. Then I thought about it and I said, nah, put him behind the river in the swamp. And... Oh, I had reset myself. I guess I know what it was. I wanted to be in Alexandria, so I reset the move. So I moved Western Desert Force up to the Italian border again. He has that pro marker there. I'm ready for the Italians to come in. And I put this thing in Alexandria, which, you know, minor threat of maybe an invasion into Benghazi. Maybe even a long-range shot at, you know, Taranto Brindisi if he leaves him open. Make him defend things. That's just the way kind of one of the things the British need to do. Naval unit. Oh, I moved the French fleet out of Marseille into Tunis, again, trying to anticipate Italian joining the war. And now, I'm not sure. Oh, and then I moved the home fleet up to Antwerp. This is to try and stop any shenanigans. By being in Antwerp, technically, I can go 1-2 and intercept his convoy in Sea Zone 12 from Antwerp. So he can, you know, he kind of has to think about what he wants to do there. Now I think I'm moving the French. The British took care of the German Air Force that's down here, because the other one's up in Norway. So they go 1, 2, 3. Me setting there. And then 4, 5, 6, 7. They're attacking into Aachen. So I threw in the French air. I threw in the French tanks. He's already used up anything he can play. His airplane is gone, and he used his tanks marker over in Turkey. So I'm getting the best possible attack here. Start off at 1 for French, 2 for armor, 2 for airplane, -1 for the city. Oh, actually, it's +1 for elite, +1 for French. So I was actually starting at +6. I end at +5. +5 to +2. Couldn't roll any better. I rolled an 11. He rolled a 6, net 6. So he is retreated, and he did have a retreat route. And then he flew his airplane there because I took Aachen. He lost a factory, so he went down to 13. And he also lost 2 will, not that it matters much. The big thing there is to drop his factory down. And I think we moved if you look, he had moved the back up here. He had actually moved his factory loss marker up. And it's like, no, you didn't. That doesn't go anywhere. That's only from strategic warfare. You just lose the total. So now I had 3 movement points left. Right, because he had been at, he should have been at 13. I think he messed up. For the life of me, I don't know why this guy didn't attack back at the 18th. Because it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I had movement points left, and I don't know why I didn't attack. Just trying to figure out which one to use. That's what I did. I went back and I said, oh, wait, I have movement points left. I need to attack. So I attacked that German again. And I rolled a 10 to his 3. That German that was in the south that couldn't retreat. The idea, I was just hoping to flip him with a retreat, and then I'd have another guy come in and, blow him up, right? Get myself a will point that way. So I attacked it, managed to roll a 10. He only rolled a 3, so it was the same attack as before because I have these these French guards units are as good as German infantry, and when you throw tanks and airplanes, they can be fairly formidable, just like German infantry can be if you throw airplanes and stuff on them. So, yeah, the French army actually can do things here, which is kind of scary. So he lost that's a permanent will point he lost, so he'll never get back. Then I think, yeah, I thought about taking the hex and said, nah, yes, no, yes. I took the hex, and I moved this guy over because then it's 1-2 down the rail. And I believe did I not attack anymore? Oops, that's me hitting undo. And I didn't attack anymore. I don't know why I didn't attack anymore. Oh, and then I moved the infantry unit that I had kind of backing up the line here. I moved it down to here because we're dealing with... I was thinking, here come the Italians. I need to have some decent deterrent stuff there. And this is me again. I'm using the British to do supply. Should be because the French are down here. Supplied 2 units down there. This convoy was placed there by the emergency convoy rule. That's why it's sitting there in Kuwait and supplying the British. I supplied the Western Desert Force and the French North African, I think. Oh no, I let the French North African go into low supply. Okay. And in the convoy over here, supplied both the French units in North Africa. Okay. So we kind of caught up there. So the West strikes back. I should have probably, when I moved this guy in here, I probably should have taken, I could have been +3 to +2. I think I was worried about if I tried to take this bend right here, this one, Control H. If I try to take out that German infantry unit there, and go ahead and take the Hex, yeah, I have the Rhine, but then I have a guy sitting out there that can't be retreated, and so he could just pound it with assaults over the next 3 or 4 turns in poor weather, and just kill it anyway, because I couldn't retreat it. So I think that's why I didn't bother. I just said, nope, I've got line number 1 here, line number 2 here, with some miners that'll get in the way, make him use up movement points, and just trying to make his life as generally difficult as possible to break into France. So, anyway, now we're over in the Soviets. I think I'm just moving up. I move up a handful of units around the board. And then I stop when I get to having 5 points left so that I can play in the Diplomacy Cup. Because nothing's going to happen in Russia for like 18 months. Or is it 15? September, that's 4 plus 12. So I don't roll until December of 42. So yeah, it's like 16 months. Or 15 months and then I roll. So nothing's going to happen over here for quite a long time. So a lot of this is just going to be moving Russians around. Now we're doing replacements. So this will be the Germans, getting back their aircraft here in the west. And then the one they're moving to the west. I pointed out to him he really didn't need to bother with the ones in the east. He could save his points for... because he was like, well, if I take down 6, I only have 3, I won't be able to do it. And I'm like, but the airplanes in the east are not going to face anything for quite a long time. So you can, do them as needed, when you have extra points that you don't have anything to do with. And this allows you to spend those points on, stuff that's going to be coming in. He doesn't have these yet. I've got 3 Russian armies to build, my entire Air Force and Navy to rebuild. I have a lot of rebuilding to do with the Russians, but the Germans are going to get a couple things next turn. So, and he was like, oh, yeah, that'll work. So, I think, yeah, I replenished the British, both the fighters and the fighters in the convoy over here, I think. Or did I? Yeah. I'm running into the same problem of needing to keep points back for diplomacy phase. And the French reset their fighter to get some things back and their convoy. And we didn't have any replacements for Soviets, and didn't do any upgrades. 6 garrison. Not sure why he moved that into them. Oh, because that collapsed in August, and we thought, oh, wait, that's supposed to be in the mobilization spot. So he was actually allowed to build that this turn. And not sure. I think he just threw it somewhere in the west. Yeah, he threw it in Bremen. Western mobilization, I didn't think I had anything. Soviets didn't bother. So we got to the diplomacy phase. And as you can see, there's 1 failure out, 1 success out, 2 no events. I'm not sure if we emptied the cup here or not. No, we didn't. So he went ahead and pulled and got a no event. So now there's 3 no events, 2 political successes, and I think a German pro marker left in there. So the British went ahead and pulled, got a no event. And the Soviets were kind of looking at it, and I believe, yep, they take the no event, or the Political failure, put it back in the camp, and then because there's no events, they must put a no event back in. So they're trying to stack it more against the Germans. It's just us straightening things up. And this is us getting our stuff back on our tracks from the turn track. I finally got some real Russian units to build, a little late. Put it in his mobilization box. I put his tanks in there, and we went into October. I don't know if we played October. Nope, we didn't. We ended it right here. Okay, so yeah, that's the huge Western offensive in September of 1941. Snatched a factory from him. We need to actually correct that. I believe he should be at 13 factories. Not at. Yeah, we did. He's at 13, so he's in the right place. So for a minute there, I thought we had put it down to 12, but it's like, no, he's at 13 because he has Eastern Poland. He owns 14, but I just took one away. So now he'll be at 13 minus 1, 12. So he'll have 24 production points until he gets around to, conquering France or taking back Aachen. So that's that. I'm going to take a quick break here, see how much time I've taken to do this, and we'll see if I'm going to just epilogue this or if I'm going to try and snatch another turn in here. So hang on a second. Now, it looks like I've taken about 30 minutes, so we'll just end this with this turn. I'm Dren608. If you like my videos, please subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button so that YouTube will help keep these things around and keep them, the more likes it gets, the more likely YouTube's going to leave it alone and not flag it as irrelevant or anything like that. So, yeah. Real interesting game with going east first. We're going to see how this plays out in the west over the next few turns. Until I see you again, stay safe and bye-bye.